Good evening and welcome to the regular board meeting of the Carpinteria Unified School District, May 29th, 2024 at Carpinteria City Hall Council Chamber. Please stand for the flag salute. Ready, begin? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I jumped the gun a little bit because normally we've done roll call earlier, but we didn't have a closed session. So can we get a roll call for attendance?
All right. Eric? Aye. Aaron?
Here.
Sally?
Here.
Amy?
Here?
And I am here.
Thank you. Okay. We have B2, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of May 14th, 2024. Any questions from the board on those minutes? No? Okay, public comment for B2, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of May 14th, 2024. And then because we have visitors today, our procedures for public comment, I will let you know when it's time for public comment. You just go ahead and stand up at the podium. You don't need to fill out a slip. That way, if you feel like you need to make comment after the time, you can just step right up. Please be sure the mic is on. The way you can do that is there's a green light that will turn on, and then you can begin. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Thomas, thank you. For those who don't know me, I'm Jay Hotchner. I'm here this evening as the elected representative of district employees. Let the minutes show that unlike other community board meetings, the district does not turn on or turn the video screens towards the gallery to permit community members an opportunity to watch and listen to the comments of public speakers. Instead, the monitors face the board, who already have a clear view of the speaker, and often they are turned off. Let the minutes show that a request is again made to follow the routine protocols to allow the public to remain engaged and the speakers respected as they attempt to participate in the governance and public oversight of the school district and its business. At item 4, during the approval of the consent agenda, let the minutes show that 3 public speakers requested item D5 and under 4, the extension of the contract with Fagan, Friedman, and Fullfrost LLP, to be removed from the consent agenda after being placed on the agenda in violation of the district's Brown Act obligations. Let the minutes show that the district misrepresented details associated with this notoriously anti-labor law firm that Ms. Rigby brought to the district. And in the minutes of the May 14th board meeting, the district misrepresents their relationship by stating that the law firm is a, quote, local firm, which it most certainly is not. Let the minutes show that Fagan, Friedman, and Fullfrost LLP is anything but a local firm, unless we now consider the following locations part of our local community: Fresno, Sacramento, LA, Oakland, San Diego, Des Moines, Iowa, and Seattle, Washington. These are the locations where this Walmart of anti-labor legal services is located. Unfortunately, we are not even getting the discounted prices one would expect from a Walmart-style firm. Instead, we're paying FFF LLP lawyers $425 an hour for their services. No wonder the district has spent $1.9 million in taxpayer dollars in the last year alone, most of it which was not invested in resources or programs for district students and families, but was instead squandered on a failed legal action that has resulted in official charges of retaliation and discrimination against now departing district administrators. In this attempt to put a rosy-cheeked neighborly spin on this law firm's questionable reputation and performance, the minutes misrepresent both the firm's association with the district and the concerns that we shared at the May 14th board meeting, where several engaged community members requested that the item be removed. Please correct the minutes to accurately reflect the nature of the relationship, the unique relationship between Ms. Rigby, this law firm, and the district. Thank you.
Any further public comment on approval of the minutes from May 14th? Okay. May I get a motion to approve?
I move to approve the minutes of May 14th, 2024.
I'll second that.
Any discussion from the board? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, B3, approval of the agenda and consent agenda. Any discussion from the board on the agenda or consent agenda? No? Okay. Or I guess questions, sorry. Okay, public comment on B3, approval of the agenda and consent agenda. Please feel free to step up to the podium now if you would like to make public comment on the approval of the agenda and consent agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. For the last few months, union leadership has reminded the district that it is misusing the administration of the consent agenda to advance public business without transparency. And we did so again at the last board meeting when the district used the consent agenda to slip through without public transparency an extended contract with the superintendent's anti-labor law firm, 3F. We are bringing similar concerns about the misuse of the consent agenda to advance public business without transparency once again this evening. It is simple. The district is not permitted to load the consent agenda with items it has not brought before the community for mass approval. This denies the community an opportunity to thoroughly examine the given topics and use the full measure of those procedures protected by the Brown Act to better scrutinize the decisions of this public entity, CUSD. Union leadership is not saying the district cannot ever include this evening's items on the consent agenda at a future time, but we are again saying that the CUSD has a responsibility to first bring each consent agenda item forward before the board and the public at least one time at a regularly scheduled board meeting before the agenda item is moved to the consent agenda for mass approval. The district's current violating practice places restrictions on public discourse, which come at the cost of the very students and families leadership has sworn to serve. It's decisions like those opaquely pushed through the consent agenda last week that have resulted in part of the $4 million budget overspend just in 23-24, with $1.9 million going to fruitless legal actions aimed at silencing the voices of district employees. If we were to ignore this evening's procedural violations, the consent agenda contains worthy investments that union leadership would otherwise support. Conceptually, both items 1 and 2, valuable items, and we encourage you to support those. That said, there is one item that clearly requires more examination, and that's item 3, the agreement between CUSD and Concordia University, Irvine, 24 through 27, which places school counseling, psychology, practicum interns, and school counselors and psychologists in our district. On its face, it sounds like a good idea. The mentorship that occurs when school counselors and psychologists and interns work together can be a powerful and valuable experience. That said, CUSD already engages in a concerning practice where both interns and student teachers are often encouraged to provide instructional services well beyond their contracted and legal authority to do so. Although we appreciate that these contracts come at no financial cost to the district, that does not mean there is no cost to our students, our families, and district outcomes. And we continue to find that such practices do not benefit student achievement. Not only is this contract being pushed through without a previous opportunity to examine the issue and previous performance of the signatories on this contract,
Thank you. Your time
but
is
it's
up.
being asked to be moved forward for 3 years, not one.
So-
Thank you.
Any further public comment on approval of the agenda and consent agenda this evening? Okay, seeing none, may I get a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, and a roll call, right?
Yeah, I'd just like to say the Sun program has been really good for our community and the students in our district, and I think this is the eighth year we've done this, and it's definitely worthwhile. So,
And it's important to note, actually, on that, just highlight that it's being expanded to TK and K this
Yeah,
year, which
that's
is great.
fantastic.
So,
yeah. All right. Roll call. Eric.
Aye.
Aaron.
Aye.
Sally.
Aye.
Jamie.
aye.
And I'm aye.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to D. The board this evening would like to honor 3 personnel who are retiring after long, several decades or longer years of service to our district and our students and our families. I'd like to to just say them out loud. We have Ophelia Gonzalez Hernandez, who is a custodian from September 9th, 1987 through this year, 36 years of service. We have Arna Crittenton, who is a cafeteria leader from December 15th, 1987, 36 years of service as well. And we have Robin McCauley, a CMS sixth grade teacher from September 1st, 1997 through now with 26 years of service. And I believe we have Miss McCauley here tonight. I don't believe we have the other two ladies are here. So we have a presentation for Miss McCauley.
Robin, would you like to join us? Thank you. And Lisa O'Shea is our principal at the middle school. First, I'm going to give Robin a plaque. And Robin, we're so appreciative of your 26 years of service, and I'd like to read the plaque. Certificate of Appreciation. In recognition of your dedicated service to the students, staff, and families of the Carpinteria Unified School District, for your commitment and devotion to the power of public schools, for your leadership, compassion, and dedication to the lives of students and their families, and for your belief in success of every student, the Board of Trustees and the entire school community offer their heartfelt thanks and appreciation to Robin McCauley. Thank you for your 26 years of faithful and dedicated service to enriching the lives of our students in our communities through your commitment to our public schools.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. We so appreciate your service. This is for you. We also have a clock for you with appreciation for 26 years of service and dedication to the students and families of the Carpinteria Unified School District 2024, and a rose bush to remind you that you're CMS and Carpinteria Unified.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. And I know Lisa has some words for you as well.
Yes.
I'd like to stand right here, and Lisa would like to share some thoughts.
Good evening, school board members, Superintendent Rigby. And I want to recognize the teachers from the middle school that have come to support Robin tonight. We have Kelly Vergeer, B. Hernandez, Allie Taylor, and Pat Garnero. Am I missing anyone? So I asked a handful of teachers if they could share a few thoughts about Robin, and almost 10 did. So I'm going to hope to condense these and also do Robin justice. So Robin started by teaching 7th and 8th graders who were reading below the 4th grade level. She won them over by making them breakfast on Fridays. She taught kickboxing. She helped teach swing dancing at Candelino, which was hugely fun. She also taught at Aliso. She's won Teacher of the Year and also the Crystal Apple. The history events and projects were the biggest highlights for her because they made history come alive for the students, and she got to know and meet the parents. Mr. Campazano, as you know, teaches next door to her and was her student when he was a 6th grader. So he says she's the most dedicated and persistent educator he's ever met. Not only is she passionate for the curriculum she teaches, she holds students to a very high standard. She truly believes in them and sees their potential. She holds them accountable and loves them unconditionally. He says Robin, to this day, has been the most impactful teacher he's ever had. She's literally brought history alive for him when he was her student in the 6th grade. He remembers her tearing up and being genuinely sad to see the class move on from 6th grade on the last day of school. She made him feel loved and cared for. Robin is one of the major reasons he's teaching today. Ms. Gallus says she's a caring teacher, always puts students first. She's the first one to celebrate others in the room and lift them up. I'll talk about that in a minute with the kudos she started. She's always worked so hard to make sure her lessons are engaging, yet still demanding rigor and grit, while making learning fun. She gives the best hugs and is always a good friend to her colleagues. Allie Taylor says she's remarkable, open-hearted, brilliant, a natural teacher, mentor. She was so patient with Allie as she was her mentor. She took her under her wing and guided her. She was not only her academic mentor, but Allie's friend. Allie couldn't wait till she could connect with her students the way Robin had, and she would gain the courage to be willing to try the new things with her students like Robin had. Kim Castagna emailed me. I did not even reach out to Kim Castagna, as you know. She's been gone for years. She says Robin's a backbone of the sixth grade department and has been for over 25 years, always open to teaching new ideas. An example is her adoption of Socratic seminars to give students a voice. She's been a mentor to many people at CMS. B. Hernandez and Jen Foster says Robin has a profound passion for education, showcasing unwavering professionalism, boundless enthusiasm, and remarkable dedication. Her departure leaves a void felt by both students and faculty members alike. Kelly Vergeer says Robin is a remarkable teacher who embodies not only the qualities of hard work, dedication, and creativity, but also genuine care for her students. Her passion for education shines through in everything she does. She'll be deeply missed by all who've had the privilege of knowing her. And Robin started the kudos at our staff meeting. So the Sunday before staff meeting, I'll share a kudos document with staff. They'll just give people shout outs that they feel like deserve it. And so Robin always reads those at the staff meeting. And after every one, she says, whoop, whoop. And so Kelly Vergeer says, whoop, whoop, just as she cheers others on enthusiastically. When reading kudos at staff meetings. So again, Robin says teaching has been the best experience of her life. So please join me in celebrating Robin's remarkable contributions to our school community and wishing the best in her future endeavors. Woo, woo.
I too would like to congratulate Robin. I worked with Robin and Kim when they were teaching sixth grade at Canalino, and I loved all that they were doing in the classrooms. So congratulations, Robin. I hope your retirement's good.
I also like to thank you, Robin. And I mean, we have nearly 100 years of experience retiring from the district here. But I just wanted to highlight the fact that you've touched thousands of students who've come through your classroom. And some of them are challenging, and I know it can be difficult at times, but I think you know this, but the impact you'll have on their lives, not just immediately during school, but in the years that come along afterwards, and when they're able to reflect back and think about the things they learn, not just academically, but just the life lessons they learned in your classroom, and the caring and love that you showed them. And I think that really is a testament to who you are as a person, and not just as a teacher, but as a person. And we're really going to miss having you as part of our team. And I just want to thank you, because you touched all three of my children's lives and our family, and I just truly want to thank you.
So when the board does school tours at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year, and I love coming into your classroom and seeing you teaching the Socratic method and seeing the kids working, and the demeanor that they have and the tone that they have when you're doing that is amazing. How they own it and they take it seriously, like it is their job, and they are learning, and it is so apparent. And it's interesting because I see some of them and I know who they are, and I know they're not always the easiest kids, but I see them doing it and taking their job in that moment very seriously. And it is so amazing to see when kids are given that opportunity to own their education in that way, from a teacher like yourself, and how that shows through, like Andy said, not just in the immediate, but in the long term of their lives, and the impact that will have. So thank you very much. Thank you.
I'd also like to acknowledge Ophelia. She was a teaching assistant at Canalino for a number of years, and then moved up to a custodial position, I think after her husband retired, and kind of took over from him. But they were a good pair, and I appreciated you immensely, Ophelia.
And Arna as well. Arna,
Yes.
Arna had a big impact in our culinary arts program, or culinary department, and, but she's also been a huge supporter of the Future Farmers of America, and will continue on as a volunteer there. But Arna it's a lot of experience.
Yeah, I had the honor and privilege of working with Arna during the COVID lockdown when we were doing the food distribution. She was so wonderful and helpful when we were doing it from the high school, and even when we moved to CCP and kind of back and forth for a little bit. And it was a really amazing opportunity to get to know her personally outside of school. So Arna, your commitment and love for your community, your school site, your colleagues, the students that you work with is not missed, but you will be for sure. So thank you and Ophelia for your many years of service. Ms. McCauley, we really appreciate you, and please enjoy your retirement. Thank you. Well deserved. Thank you. Do we have any public comment, D1, on our retirees? Please feel free to step up to the podium now.
Hello, my name's Julie Sigwart, and I wanted to recognize Miss Robin McCauley for all the wonderful teaching, that she has done. She welcomed my son into 6th grade and made it, a welcoming place. And, I don't know why I'm getting emotional, it's stupid. She welcomed him, and, there are teachers that you remember through your life. And as a parent, there are some teachers that stick out to you as well. And of the teachers in our district, she is one of them. One thing I remember is that, there was this wonderful Greek potatoes recipe that, it was part of one of the events that the 6th graders do, because they have themed events throughout the year, the Flintstone feast and, things like that. And she really made it a wonderful and rememberable 6th grade, and really made the transition from 5th grade into 6th grade wonderful. So thank you so much, and thank you, Robin. I want the recipe again.
Thank you. The retirement of these 3 professionals is a genuine loss to the CUSD. All 3, Ophelia, Arna, and Robin, were already fixtures in the district by the time most of us arrived, myself 23 years ago. All 3, in the unique roles they served the community for no longer than many of those working in the district have even been alive at this point. Good math, Mr. Schaefer, on collectively that they have provided the district over 100 years of collective service and touched the lives of thousands of students and families in the community, and then beyond the community, because these kids, they don't just stay here, right? Many of them head off to other areas, and they bring all that love and all that awesome attention that they get from teachers like Ms. McCauley and from Ophelia and from Arna to other communities and grow it. Each deserve our highest gratitude for the extended loyalty and commitment that these 3 have shown the district, our students, and our families. Each have also been consistent union members, and I want to appreciate them for that personally, and I'm sure our union leadership team does as well. They've participated directly to share their experiences and the experiences of their colleagues with district leadership. They've done that by asking questions, sharing their experiences, and informing administrators in their own unique ways. The wide variety of proposed improvements that employees continue to seek in both formal and informal settings. Specifically in regard to myself taking my, my union hat off, in regard to Ms. McCauley, you have inspired me as a professional, Ms. McCauley. You helped carry me in my first year when I taught 6th grade and was literally floundering, quite literally. And Ms. McCauley carried me along, and since then, over the years, she taught me a great deal about how to craft engaging curriculum, design, and how to relate to middle schoolers, and how to work collaboratively with our peers. And then, even more personally, she has been a great friend to myself, to Mrs. Hotchner, I'm her husband, and our kids. And so you have truly earned a long and happy retirement, and congratulations.
Any further public comment? Okay, not seeing any. Thank you so much, and I'm sure we can find somebody to help you carry that beautiful rose bush to your vehicle. It is the most yummy smelling as rose. It's like this gorgeous double bloom, so you are very lucky. Okay, we are moving on to our Summerlin Elementary School highlights presentation with our teacher in charge, Mrs. Colson, and we have some students. I'll give you a minute to get set up.
Can they come up here with me? Come on up. That's how we do it at school.
Yep. Just make sure if that the mic's on for them if they're gonna
You guys will be talking.
be saying anything.
Okay. All right. So this one's on? Great. Good evening, Carpinteria School Board and Superintendent Rigby. My name is Shannon Colson, and I am the second third grade teacher at Summerlin School and teacher in charge. It is a pleasure to be here tonight and present highlights about Summerlin School. I would like to introduce Ms. Anya Simonovich. She's our 4-5 teacher. Leo Bridgeford, Daphne James, and Render Gonzalez from our 5th grade at Summerlin School. So before we get into the presentation, we wanted to start with this slide because we love rainy days at Summerlin. And when you have a rainy day at Summerlin, the kids there will, normally you eat your lunch and you play board games. And it seems like the longest lunch ever. But at Summerlin School, these guys beg us for spelling bees. So we took this picture there, please, can't we after we eat have a spelling bee? So we took this picture because it just shows the energy and the excitement at Summerlin School. And the students refer to themselves as the Summerlin School of Teaching and Learning. When you enroll at Summerlin School and start kindergarten, you're assigned to a school family. The students stay in their school families until 5th grade, when they promote and then move on to middle school. In 5th grade, they become head of the household, like the parents. As new students move to Summerlin School, they decide which families will be best for them and the students. These students' families have a common lunch every Wednesday, and then we do a family lesson every Wednesday as well. The 5th grade students have many responsibilities at Summerlin School, including teaching the kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade students the monthly character traits. And so they do that once a month, and it's very, we'll speak to that in a minute. They will often get Band-Aids for their family members or ice if one of their family members gets injured. This school year, we took our first school-wide field trip and we went to the Santa Barbara Zoo and we stayed in our school families. It was very successful. We've already planned on going, doing the next field trip next year, and we'll be going to the Ronald Reagan Presidential Museum December 5th. And we've invited our 5th graders to join us. Oh, I didn't show it. And in the slide on the right, that was us and our school families making s'mores in solar ovens. And then in the top slide, that's a school family, and the one in the middle is reading to the it's a 3rd grader. So it's a 1st grader, a kindergartner, 3rd grader in the middle reading to Daphne, who's here with us in 5th grade, and another 4th grader. So every day at Summerlin School, kindergarten through 5th grade, rotates through high tide. The students are placed in this flexible grouping to best support their own personal learning pathway. The teachers prepare the lessons specifically designed for each student in phonemic awareness, grammar, writing mini lessons, and novel study. The teachers review data on a weekly basis to make sure that adequate progress is being made. As students master these subjects, they will move to another class in flexible grouping. The teachers have already assigned students to high tide for next school year based on our end of year school data. And now I'm going to turn it over to Anya.
Hello, I'm Anya Simonovich. I'm the 4th and 5th grade teacher at Summerland. These pictures up here are a couple of images from my high tide group this year. The top picture shows how students tracked all of the figurative language that occurred in one of our novels by writing quotes, identifying the type of figurative language, and writing it on a sticky note for our class chart up there. As you can see, our chart got quite full by the end of our book. The bottom picture shows a end of book celebration in our classroom where the students were shaking jars of cream to make butter because that's what one of the book characters did. And this is just one example of how students celebrate their love for reading in the classroom.
So the fifth grade students at our school take an active role at Summerlin School. They meet on a regular basis to plan and make decisions for their school. This year they focused on teaching in their school families, and they took that very seriously, STEM and 3D. Render Gonzalez will add a few highlights about fifth grade leadership. You can do it right there. They can see you.
Hi, my name is Render Gonzalez, and I'm one of the fifth graders at Summerlin School. In the morning, the fifth graders do flag, and when we do flag, we go out at 2:20 to pull the flag down and fold it. Fifth graders also get to do some fun stuff like having a working lunch. It is like when we meet up with Dr. Colson, we take about what we should do or plan doing from things at school. Also, when you are a fifth grader, you get to do CNE and stay for there about 3 days. Thank you.
So our current fourth graders have already met and have started discussions into what they want to do for next school year, and their upcoming goal for next year is to start robotics. We started a STEM class, which stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics, and a math club this year. In STEM, the students participate in lessons, make and build projects, and are given the opportunity to work together to create and build. The students apply the scientific method to the assignment and get the opportunity to test their hypothesis. And the two pictures to the left are a wild weather tower and then a balloon-powered car. And then Ms. Vonovich will speak to math.
In Math Club, the students in grades 2 through 5 collaborate to solve difficult math and logic problems. They also participate in extension lessons and math games to support the district-adopted Bridges math curriculum. The image to the right shows a few of the students' favorite math games that they have played throughout the year, which all encourage students to build mathematical reasoning and think in different ways. And the students also enjoy playing these math games in any free time they have throughout the day. For next year, we plan to expand this program to create more differentiated math clubs and classes in grades K through 5.
All students at Summerlin School in K-5 have the opportunity to participate in 3D class. In 3D, the students have learned to create, design, and code items. They send their designs directly to our 3D printers or save them on a flash drive to print later or share with other students who may want to print the same item. This school year, we started by teaching the fifth grade leaders how to 3D print. And then we asked them, okay, now you're proficient and you're ready to go on to the next grade. And then we went down to fourth grade. And that's how we worked it throughout the school year. The last few weeks, the kinders have been taught how to 3D print and code. Yeah, this has been very exciting at our school. As an extension to 3D class, we now allow the students the opportunity to come to class early before school starts. Students enjoy reviewing what they made the day prior, pull creations off the build plate, and then send new items to the printer. The past few days, we haven't been printing because we've been getting ready for the board presentation, and these guys go, we haven't printed for a few days. What's wrong? So at this time, Leo will speak to 3D.
Hi, I'm Leo Bridgeford, 3D printing. Every day in the morning, we go and 3D print something on the printers. We usually 3D print things we need for the school. For an example, we 3D printed a dinosaur pencil holder for all of the teachers and a phone holder for all of the school phones. Also, during lunch, we 3D print things. Another thing that we did is that when we got the $5,000 donation, we 3D printed something for the donator. We're also thinking about 3D printing base plates for when we play kickball at lunch or baseball. Thank you.
They have something they've made for each board member.
Are these all 3D printed?
Oh, this is so cool.
Oh, love it.
You got the stump.
Oh, thank you. Oh, perfect. I like it. Thank you. Shannon, have you gone up to the engineering lab at the high school?
Thank you.
We wanted to take a field
Oh.
trip. We just hadn't arranged it. And then
that's beautiful.
we have a student who's actually will be enrolling next year, and he wanted to go with us. So we're hoping to go first thing in the beginning of the school year. Check with Mr. Miller.
Okay.
It's fabulous.
Love this. Phone holder.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, I bet it's really good for like playing music. Does it like echo like a little nice?
If you
Thank
need
you.
anything else, let us know.
Fabulous. I will. This is so cool. Thank you guys so much. This is wonderful.
Yeah, they've been planning and collecting those things for a few weeks. And yeah, it's really cute. I just want to speak to this slide up here because I have the student at the top. One day he said to me, we were printing, I don't know what item, and he said, could I just sit and watch? And he sat there for 15 minutes. I had to text his mom because she, and it was just, he was just watching everything, like, how's it working? And yeah, and so then the slide on the bottom, that's a few of the students who come in the morning and they were pulling something off the build plate.
Well, don't take them to the high school because there's about 15 of these machines running all the time.
They may never leave.
Yeah.
Wow. It's really exciting.
Ready for the high
No, I know
Yeah.
that. I'm joking, but
Yeah.
the high school program, you guys should all take a trip up to the high school.
Yeah,
And you'll
we
be
definitely
jazzed.
want to do that.
Yeah.
And when we ordered these, we actually made sure that they were aligned with the high school, so that if we needed service or we did some research on that. And then during our open house, we had a parent who came, and he's an engineer in the 3D department at UCSB. And I said, well, you should come in and help. And he goes, you guys are fine.
Well, I think it'd be great to get some of the high school students to come down and,
Yeah.
and,
Oh, we
and
would
work
love
with them
it.
because that class that Mr. Miller's got going on, the students in there are so jazzed about it.
Yeah.
And they love talking about all the different, their prototypes, and then they go actually make a real part on a CNC machine, and
Wow.
so yeah, I think it'd be great to be able to.
Mr. Miller,
Mr. Miller, Kurt Miller,
Okay.
yeah,
we'll be setting that up.
yeah,
And
all right.
especially robotics.
And the robotics as well.
Yeah.
There's a
if
whole
you're wanting to
robotics.
take on robotics next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we really leave it to the fifth grade leaders to come up with their ideas,
Yeah.
and this was really important to them. And sometimes we would meet, and I'd say, all right, what new ideas or what are we going to do? And they go, we're already doing it. Like, that's enough. That's just our focus. And so the fourth graders said, the next layer for us is the robotics part of it.
So rad.
So, okay. So this school year, our parent group, or our PFS, purchased Art in Action for each classroom. Each class taught 12 art lessons throughout the school year. Each lesson focused on a different artist and a style of art. The students have made projects throughout the school year. During our open house, we had many of our art projects displayed. We also had an art show downtown at the Carpinteria Art Center. Each child picked their favorite piece to display for the entire month. PFS then hosted a gathering on the last day of our art show. It was a wonderful event, and PFS has purchased this program for Summerlin the next school year, and the teachers will continue with Art in Action. So Daphne James will now speak about a few highlights from art.
Hi, my name is Daphne James, and I will be talking about an amazing program at our school called Art in Action. In Art in Action, we made sculptures, paintings, and sketches. It may take a few days to finish our creations, but we never leave an art project unfinished. My favorite part in Art in Action was my clay sculpture, because it was so much fun figuring out what we were going to do. I had a couple ideas, I just did not know what to do. I
I made a cute little child holding a teddy bear. It really showed that if you persevere, you can do anything. Thank you for listening to my speech about art.
So we wanted to share a few pictures of the energy at Summerlin School. Something is always happening supporting teaching and learning. We do Run Club once a week, and there's some pictures of them with batons. They're on the 3rd floor at the Moxie. The two to the left at the bottom are school-wide field trip. And then there's some students dancing, doing a dance, because we do a lot with the arts. So we just wanted to share those with you. And then this last picture, it was during a rainy day, and we had scheduled a school-wide picnic. And instead of canceling the school-wide picnic, we just asked the parents and the grandparents to join their child in each child's classroom and remember what it was like to be a child at school during a rainy day. It was so much fun. It really was. Everyone ate, we watched the rain fall on the ocean, and then we shared what was happening at Summerlin School. It was really fun because Grandpa came and he had a pizza, but we didn't know him. And everybody was like, "Are you here to deliver pizza? Do you work, who do you work for?" But then he came in and we brought all his grandkids in. It was a lot of fun. So it's a pleasure to speak with all of you tonight in regard to Summerlin School, the School of Teaching and Learning. I hope you've enjoyed the highlights from Summerlin School, and just let you know it's a really exciting place to work. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And thank you all. Thank you, Miss Anya, and thank you to the students for coming and for these amazing
If you need anything else, just let us know.
crafts. We'll be in touch. Fabulous. Thank you so much. Any other comments from the board?
I just want to say thank you, Dr. Colson, and it's been a real pleasure to watch this school over the past year go from some growing pains with dirt fields and et cetera, but the energy there is amazing. And I know Leo has had a great year there, so thank you for all you guys do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you for coming in.
Have a good evening. Yep. Okay, and this brings us to public comment on this item. If you have public comment, please feel free to step up to the podium for the Summerlin Elementary School presentation.
So certainly thanks to the students and the families that attended this evening's board meeting. The kids' contribution was fabulous, of course, and union leadership also wanted to extend its appreciation to the faculty and support staff at Summerlin Elementary. Summerlin provides some really unique opportunities for both students and employees given its size, but it also can feel a bit like an island. And with that in mind, we wanted to extend our appreciation for the very special role that Dr. Colson plays at Summerlin. In her role as both an educator and a teacher in charge, she continues to demonstrate a level of leadership, the same level of leadership that she first brought to CUSD when I served under her as a principal at CMS before she moved to Summerlin School. She's navigated the challenging balance of duties that come with directly serving her colleagues, her school site, families, and district administration, and she does that ethically and with grace. And so we really appreciate her effort.
Any further public comment on the Summerlin School presentation? Okay. Seeing none, we will move on to our student representative report. And Isabella, thank you so much. Tonight is your last night. Congratulations. We are sad to see you go. We really appreciated your input this year and making sure we know what's going on at the high school. And we have some flowers for you. And I also know that you have an important place to get to this evening for the senior awards ceremony at the high school. So take it away.
The class of 2028 visited CHS on Tuesday, May 28th. The incoming 9th grade students were able to meet our athletic coaches, sign up for specific sports and student clubs. We want to thank the coaches, students, CHS, and CMS staff for making this event possible. Tonight, the senior awards will be held in the CHS gym at 6:30 p.m. This is the night seniors are awarded scholarships and department awards. The senior class will have their finals tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. On Friday afternoon, 100 seniors will be participating in the 2024 grad night at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Before they leave, they will enjoy a delicious tri-tip dinner sponsored by the Carpinteria Lions Club. Next week, seniors will begin graduation practice, and in the afternoon, Monday, June 5th, 55 students and chaperones will travel to the Angels game at Anaheim. On Tuesday, 60 students will travel to laser tag in Simi Valley, and on Wednesday, about 60 students will be at the Alcazar Theater for a movie night for seniors. Finals for current 9th, 10th, and 11th grade students will be held Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of next week. Each finals day will be a minimum day for all students. And finally, graduation will be held on Friday, June 7th at 6 p.m. at Carpinteria Valley Memorial Stadium. Doors will open at 4:30 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any questions or comments?
No, I'd just like to say congratulations on making it all the way through your school career in Carpinteria, and good luck to you in the future.
Aren't you moving on to UCLA? Where are you going? Oh, okay.
We're proud of you.
Or,
We'll see you later tonight.
all right, thank you. Congratulations. Okay, and we have public comment on our student representative report. Please feel free to step up to the podium.
All right, so fully understand that Isabella wants to get off to the fun that this evening has to offer, and hope she gets there on time, driving safely. This being her last meeting, union leadership wanted to thank her for her service to the students in the community. It's a special teenager that makes time to consistently show up and speak up on behalf of their peers, and she has been that special teenager, and she deserves to be recognized as she was. Isabella, I didn't get you flowers, and you know I'm cheap, so I'm sure you'll forgive me. But please don't take it personally. Your teachers and the support staff that know you are looking forward to hearing how you carry on with your valuable service, as well as the variety of other accomplishments that lie in your future. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any further public comment on our student representative report? Okay. Moving on to our superintendent's report.
Thank you. Tonight, I'd like to begin with some congratulations to CMS grade 7 students, Eileen Solorzano and Mia Diosadoto. They were selected to attend 1 week at UCSB summer camp Tech Trek with a focus on STEM education. More congratulations to the cast and crew of CHS Muses. Their performance of Wizard of Oz was extraordinary. The best in 7 years. Fabulous. Our County Elementary Math Super Bowl. So our grades 4 through 6 students from Summerlin, Aliso, Canalino Family School, and CMS, they participated today in the 2024 County Math Super Bowl at Earl Warren Showgrounds. The mathematics competition event included challenging math tests, exciting problem solving, and team competition. CHS Award Night on May 22nd, 285 CSH students, CHS students, 47% were recognized for high academic achievement with GPAs above 3.5, of which 179 students earned a 4.0 GPA and above. 177 students were also recognized for excellence in each department. The prom, the CHS prom. We appreciate CHS ASB and the CHS parents for sponsoring the 2024 prom at the Moxie Museum in Santa Barbara, and that happened on May 18th. And then we had the after prom party at Bolero in Goleta, and it was a highly successful night. Everyone had a blast. The next item is the governor's May revised budget. The $37.9 billion budget deficit in January in May is now $27.6 billion, and that was after early action measures that shrunk the shortfall. The statutory COLA of 1.07% for the LCFF, and you recall CUSD is not LCFF, that is now fully funded. The COLA is fully funded. Governor Newsom continues his approach to avoid programmatic reductions in K to 14 by using withdrawals from the Proposition 98 Rainy Day Fund and accounting changes, which many were criticizing as manipulation of the Prop 98 minimum guarantee. And so due to the pressure of the state's largest teachers union, CTA, the governor has now this week agreed to a new plan that would suspend the Proposition 98 guarantee. And that's an action that California officials took during past revenue downturns, but have since avoided under Newsom. This allows the state to pay schools less in the near term, than it otherwise would have to, as long as it later repays those funds to schools. So there would be, they would not be limiting the funding to schools. This move, however, requires a 2/3 vote by the legislature. And again, as a basic aid district, the impact of these actions really have little or no impact on our budget. The next item is staff recruitment for the next school year. We have hired 6 new teachers, 1 assistant principal, 1 principal, 1 payroll benefits coordinator, an HR coordinator, and at this point, we continue to recruit for an assistant superintendent for business and 2 secondary special education teachers. And my last item is Measure U. So good news, the Canalino Learning Center groundwork has begun. However, during excavation, we found an additional layer of asphalt and petromat, which requires special handling and dump fees. We also found high levels of groundwater. The team is working on the best solution to mitigate the water, as we did with Summerlin School. There are several different approaches to address these soil issues. It was also discovered that there are unmarked low-voltage conduits underground that's not been on our site maps. This will require rerouting those services from the planned connectivity for the new learning center. Quotes for both projects are pending, and the good news is it will be paid with contingency funds that we already included in the project budget. Thanks.
Thank you. Any questions from the board on the superintendent's report? Nope. Okay. Public comment on the superintendent's report, please feel free to step up to the podium now.
Thank you. After sharing a lot of details associated with the governor's May revised budget, the superintendent shared a specific important detail. As a basic aid district, the impact of the May revise has little to no impact on the CUSD budget. It's about time Ms. Rigby recognized this detail. Elected employee leadership have been making this point for several years. Unfortunately, Ms. Rigby does not go much further to clarify what does have an impact on the CUSD's budget. That being the ratio of revenues we receive from local property taxes, which are approximately 83 to 85% of our revenues, in relation to CUSD's controllable expenditures, such as the $1.9 million taxpayer dollars spent just this year on unnecessary and unfounded legal action. More on that later, as these details are further confirmed in the district's budget figures that are going to come up tonight. The superintendent also reported on the topic of the 23-24 staff recruitment, referring to this spring's exodus of district personnel as staff recruitment is truly artful wording. It would be hard to find a more apt example of the idiom putting lipstick on a pig. In celebrating CUSD's unremarkable 23-24 staff recruitment, Ms. Rigby fails to mention why these and so many other openings even exist. Since sharing data on employee transiency at the last board meeting, the numbers have only gotten worse. The district continues to hemorrhage teachers, support staff, and senior district administrators, and by next year, Superintendent Rigby will be the only senior administrator left at the district office who actually started the 23-24 school year. Chew on that for a moment. Just a few weeks ago, another CUSD payroll coordinator resigned, the second resignation in that position this year. And it's no secret that the human resource director has also resigned after the district's embarrassing and well-deserved loss with the Santa Barbara Office of Administrative Hearings earlier this year. Just this March, the resignation and prompt departure of a special ed director, the third SPED director to resign under Ms. Rigby's supervision, left the district to avoid any further association with the uniquely dysfunctional special education program that Ms. Rigby has fostered. This evening comes the resignation of the assistant superintendent, Ms. Fitzgerald, and that's being announced. Likely not a coincidence that it comes the same night that over a $4 million budget shortfall is being confirmed in the evening's budget presentation. Ms. Fitzgerald's departure is the last in the line of senior administrators who have fled under Ms. Rigby's watch. So when Superintendent Rigby's report celebrates staff recruitment, recognize that there is a reason why she's trying to put lipstick on that pig. Again, more on that in the upcoming personnel report. Union leadership is compelled to ask, when is this school board going to start doing something about the district's achievement data, the exorbitant legal costs, the imploding SPED program, and severe employee transiency? Why do you sit nodding your heads at this pivel that we hear in these reports,
Thank you.
agreeing
Your time
behind
is
closed
up.
doors to extend her contract? Thank you.
Any further public comment on the superintendent's report? Okay. Moving on to public comment for items that are not on the agenda. So if you would like to speak about something that is not covered in this evening's agenda, please feel free and step up to the podium now. Thank you.
Good evening again. Last night I attended the city council meeting, and on agenda item number 18, they have been talking about issues with funding with law enforcement. The city is facing a shortfall. I mean, there are expenses that are going up, and so that is a real challenge for them. One of the things that they talked about is that there is a community resource deputy who spends a lot of time in our district, in the schools. He's usually here, during these meetings, and they brought it up that they would like to come and talk to you about funding that particular position, or the percentage of time that he spends here, within the district. Those costs would probably be around $90,000, just rough estimate. If you haven't heard from the city, you will be hearing from them. But anyway, I encourage you to fund this position, to help the city out and help keep our school campuses safe. One of the things that they brought up last night was that the community resource deputy does a lot more than, just security. He talks to the kids. It's an investment in our overall city and community, and that, these kids develop a positive relationship with law enforcement, and he is a good resource for them. So I am asking you to talk to the city and please include that in your funding if possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Any further public comment for items not on this evening's agenda?
Good afternoon. I know most of you know me, but my name is Mandy DeWitt, and I am the Science Department Chair at CHS. My team and I work hard to design and implement our science curriculum, which includes many hands-on projects, activities, and experiments. Though only 2 years are required to graduate, students regularly choose to take 4 or more science courses while at CHS and go on to attend 4-year universities to major in STEM-related fields. We are proud to share that this year, that includes 42% of our college-bound graduating class will be honored tonight at our senior awards. However, we face many hardships in providing this rich curriculum to our students, which is why I am here today. Our science program currently includes 6 science teachers teaching an average of 20 periods of science, and despite our small size, 14 distinct science courses per year. Most experiments are conducted in our 2 shared lab rooms, and nearly 1,000 items are stored within our science wing facilities, of which over 300 are chemicals. Coordinating the usage and maintenance of the lab rooms, equipment, and consumables is an integral part of our program's success. That said, the time and effort this takes exceeds the regular teaching contract or department chair roles and responsibilities, and without additional time or compensation, this program is not sustainable. Past solutions, like assigning a period for lab management alongside student interns, proved very effective. However, after only 1 school year, this position was removed. A part-time classified lab assistant temporarily filled the void, but was not as effective. Presently, our program lacks both, impacting our facilities and students adversely. Despite advocating for reinstating a lab management period, the idea was dismissed, citing that other local schools do not have such a position. However, those schools lack large shared lab facilities requiring such intricate coordination and have the benefit of large departments and fewer preps to plan for. Our community has supported science by funding our beautiful labs and new equipment, But without proper management, these resources are already falling into disrepair and disorganization, leading to missed lab opportunities for our students. We do not want to diminish our program. Students should not be watching videos or demonstrations in classrooms instead of doing hands-on experiments in our labs. How would our community feel knowing that while their hard-earned money went to building our lab rooms, there was no plan in place to support the sustained use of them? Our students deserve the best science education we have to offer. Our students don't choose additional science classes or STEM majors because they listen to us talk about science. They choose it for the real hands-on experience we provide, feeling like scientists in our labs. We urge support for our students. The union has submitted a contract proposal outlining the lab management position, and we ask you to acknowledge and compensate for the extra labor required to sustain this program. Our goal is ensuring our students receive the best science education possible, and we appreciate your consideration in making this goal a sustainable reality. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you want to do you have to finish? Are you going to use your time to finish? Or did you get it?
Yeah, we've finished.
yes.
I
Okay.
just wanted to introduce
ahead.
myself
You can
and
do, yeah.
be here on behalf of the rest of the science department, whose names you'll see on the front of that packet. Thank you.
Thank you, Audrey.
Thank you. Sorry, I wasn't trying to cut you off, but
I know.
I'm kind of hard up on that 3 minutes, so I didn't. I was
Yes,
like,
I
use
timed it
yours.
at home, but with the looking up and making eye contact,
Totally
it took
get it.
about 10 seconds longer than when I timed myself at home. So thank you for granting me the extra time. I
Yep,
appreciate
yep,
it.
Yep. Thank you. Appreciate this. Any further public comment for items not on tonight's agenda?
So an update on district negotiations. Although employees have proposed no less than 100 unique improvements that we believe would directly serve students and their families, the district has rejected each and every one thus far, including the lab stipend that Ms. DeWitt and Ms. Rogan addressed just this evening. Each has been given the same level of thought and attention, and like this board meeting, few if any questions have even been asked before rejecting those proposals. Meanwhile, district leadership continues to offer employees a meager 2.5% salary percent increase after giving themselves a 5% increase at the start of the year. Absent a remarkable day on June 3rd, our last bargaining date of the 23-24 school year, the parties will be looking at going to impasse to bring in a state mediator to resolve our inability to reach good faith agreements and participate in the process with diligence and fidelity. Employees were alas permitted to formally submit two new proposals. Article 6 for certificated compensation and benefits focused on special education and how to rebuild the special education program, and Article 6 Part B that covered all the other details with compensation and benefits. That was after employees had countered on a safety article where we continue to promote a more standardized approach to district safety, one that aims to ensure that all those in the CUSD system from top to bottom share mutual expectations for the well-being of students, staff, and their families, and that everybody's advised of these as well. The district failed once again to arrive to the last two meetings, last two bargaining sessions with the data they were required to produce by law associated with two important information requests. The April 3rd, 2004 request seeking the production of financial data associated with unrepresented employees, CUSD administrators, directors, supervisors, and confidential employees like Ms. Thomas. And they also did not provide the information requested at now multiple bargaining sessions, that is, information confirming the number of employees on average, specifically instructional aides, faculty, food service workers, and custodians, absent or on leave throughout this 2023-4 or last 22-23 school year. This data remains relevant to the union's proposals to create a classified substitute pool and a certificated substitute pool. The logic being very simple, knowing that on any given day a specific number of employee absences occur, the district and in the district and or in select job categories, the district could create a standing substitute pool with at least the same number of long-term substitutes hired in place and ready to roll each day to head out to the positions where they're needed. This would minimize the scramble to find substitutes on a daily basis and ensure that our students and programs are sufficiently covered during our routine leave and during the routine instructional times of the day. The union would like to base proposals on actual information versus anecdotal observations and evidence, and we continue to arrive prepared and hope the district takes its bargaining
Thank you.
responsibilities seriously. Thank you.
Okay. Any further public comment for items not on tonight's agenda? Okay. Seeing none, we are going to move on to warrants. The board is asked to approve the warrants for the period of 5/10/24 through 5/23/24 in the amount of $750,267.49. Warrants are issued once a week on Thursdays. The report format shows check number, check date, payee, brief account description, payment comment, and check amount. Any questions from the board? Nope. Okay. Public comment on warrants, E1. Please feel free to step up to the podium at this time.
This evening, the district's warrants reveal another approximately $40,000 spent on the effort to fire elected employee leadership, an obligation and condition made clear upon Ms. Rigby's hiring, which has been affirmed in court documents. This brings the 3-month total to approximately $400,000 and the 2-year total to well over $2.5 million already paid, with another $1 million or so pending in accrued debt as a result of the recent decision by the state's Office of Administrative Hearings. For those like myself who struggle with the math, that makes over $3.5 million CUSD has invested in its attacks on union leadership and employees. And that's one hell of a distraction for those supposed stewards of the community like yourself. We understand that. While you fail to address the district's declining achievement data, exorbitant legal costs, imploding SPED program, and severe employee transiency, and continue to dismiss the obvious indicators of administrative dysfunction on full display for those capable or willing to acknowledge them, you have budgeted yet another approximately $2 million taxpayer dollars towards the same end. This evening, $40,000 is just one more check for the district stewards who continue to invest in the district's most recent attempt to avoid the exposure and accountability that elected union leadership delivers in its oversight role. A legal oversight role and an important one in any organization, but certainly in this one. Taxpayer dollars being used to sue the state now with the intent of relitigating the State Office of Administrative Hearings' recent unanimous decision. This evening, it's $40,000. Some warrants, it's only $10,000. Other warrants, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars. All expenditures on the way to another $1 million misappropriated and going towards Ms. Rigby's friends, the LA law firm, 3F LLP. Like usual, that's not the only part of the story, though. The other and perhaps most important detail is what this money is not being spent on. The district is not investing on class size reductions, which are one of the most reliable ways to ensure student participation and engagement. The district is not investing on more robust transportation services to reduce declining enrollment, tardies, and absences, and to ensure that our students can compete with surrounding districts in both academic and extracurricular activities. The district is not investing in reopening kitchens at all district school sites versus just counters with food processed off-site. The district is not investing in increased classroom support in the form of more instructional aids for non-English speakers, behaviorally challenged students, and special education students. The district is not investing in more robust support in both the district and school site offices, where our secretarial services have been reduced to half of what we knew before Ms. Rigby. How many parents out there have had challenges getting through to a live person during the school day when they call the schools or visit the schools?
Thank you. Your time is up.
There are more, of course.
Thank you. Your time is
I
up.
will stop now. Thank you for the patience. Appreciate it.
Any further public comment on E1 warrants? Okay. May I get a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Gifts, grants, and donations, E2. We have E2A, a donation from Carpinteria Education Foundation to Carpinteria Unified School District Avid. The board is asked to accept the donation from CEF for $1,439.37 for CUSD to purchase of the purchase of stoles for the CHS 2024 graduating Avid seniors. Any questions from the board? None? Okay. Public comment on E2A.
Thank you. Cause leadership and the employees we represent want to thank those community members who provide grants and gifts to the CUSD without any unethical or unprofessional strings attached. The generosity of several community members remains a highlight at these meetings, and it should be recognized and celebrated. That said, union leadership continues to raise concerns about the selective nature of gifts, grants, and donations that administration chooses to share with the public. Although every gift, grant, and donation is required to be brought before the community for consideration by the board, district administration continues intentionally to hide donations that are provided to fund matters the district would rather not draw attention to. Superintendent Rigby and Ms. Thomas are both fully aware of exactly what we're referring to. We're still a little unsure whether the board is. For example, why is the board not hearing about donations made to cover costs associated with the resolving the request for public information, which CUSD often doesn't produce, and when it does produce, it's usually after extensive delays? Or why isn't the board hearing about donations to cover costs associated with targeted research on why, when asked about students' daily marijuana use, 69% of 7th graders self-reported slight to moderate use, and 52% of 7th graders self-reported great use? These figures match the anecdotal observations from faculty and support staff. Why are we not hearing about the donations made to cover costs associated with targeted research on why, when asked in the CUSD's Healthy Kids Survey, approximately 30% of 7th grade students self-reported that they disagree or strongly disagree that they feel safe at school? Why hasn't Ms. Rigby permitted the donation made to help fund the cost of CPR and first aid training for all district personnel to be brought before the board? Or the donation to explore how many talented and credentialed teachers live in our community but choose not to work with the CUSD, preferring to commute up to 2 to 3 hours a day to teach in other districts? Why hasn't Ms. Rigby permitted the donations made to help fund the cost of surveying community members who do not send their kids to CUSD for a free public education, instead choosing to pay significant portions of their income to send their students to other educational venues? Look, the school board reserves the right to reject any gift, grant, or donation placed before it. But district administration does not have the right to prohibit board members from even being made aware of the possible donations it is receiving, simply because a gift, grant, or donation may expose performance issues or district business that Ms. Rigby or board members would rather not acknowledge. As elected board members, we remind you that Ms. Rigby is your
can I interrupt you
employee.
just-
No, you can't. Thank you. She is the only employee hired by the school board, and you should be demanding complete access to the data.
Thank you. Your
Thank you.
time is up. I'd like to remind folks, when you're speaking on an agenda item, your comments should be limited to that agenda item. Just the time for general comments was earlier. Okay.
I'll make a motion to accept the donation from CEF to the AVID program in the amount of $1,439.37.
And I'd like to, sorry. I was going to say, well, okay, Sally second. And discussion. I want to thank CEF for this. This is a really important purchase. It seems like a small item, but it symbolizes something very big and bright and exciting for these students. These are first-generation college-bound students who have had all different types of adversity in their childhood growing up. We have had an amazing donor for years who has contributed to this, and they are now contributing to another thing, and CEF has stepped in. And we are grateful to the previous donor, and we are grateful to CEF, and excited to honor these students. So thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
E2B, donation from CHS Booster Club to CHS Track and Field Club. The board is asked to accept the donation from CHS Boosters of $24.45 to CHS Track and Field Club. Any questions from the board? Okay, public comment on E2B.
So we again express our appreciation for this donation from the Boosters Club And we have similar questions on this donation as well. What makes this donation specifically different than the donations made to cover costs associated with the resolution of public information requests? What makes this donation specifically,
what specific donation are you
I'm
speaking
speaking
about?
to the one you just mentioned, item B
No,
here.
but what
Thank you.
specific donation are you referring to?
Mr. Schaefer, what are you talking about now?
I'm asking the exact same thing. What are you talking about?
Okay, I will answer any question you have as long as I can regain my time. And not starting now, but starting from the moment he
But you can't
interrupted
use
me.
this as a venue to bring up topics.
Look,
that
you're
aren't-
interrupting me, so I want to make sure that I'm going
that's
to have
fine.
the
You can have
time
your
given
time
back.
but-
Okay, thank you.
But you cannot segue into something that's not on the agenda. If you're going to speak
Oh, it's on the
specifically-
agenda, absolutely.
It is
because
not.
Yes, it is. Oh, yes, it is, because we're talking about a donation, and I'm asking.
So
in
which
regard-
donation are you
In regard
talking
to
about?
that specific donation that you're entertaining right now, what makes that donation different than the donations to cover costs related to public information
From
requests?
who? From whom?
What are those
From the
donations you're
union,
talking
from
to?
community members, from myself personally, of course.
Have you made a donation?
Pardon me?
Have you made
Oh,
a
I thought you were
donation?
talking about the public information request that you haven't resolved.
Have you made a donation to fund something that we don't know about?
Look, are you denying, I'm glad this is on the record. Are you denying, Ms. Rigby, that you have not received donations that you're not bringing forward to the board? I know you want to know who submitted these donations, Mr. Schaefer. I know
What
you do.
I'm
But
sorry.
are you
Hang
denying,
on. Okay,
Ms. Rigby?
stop. This is not a.
Are
this
you
is-
denying that these donations have been made?
Okay, thank you. This is
Please
not,
do
we're
it.
not going to, we have the right to ask a question. If you don't want to answer
It's a
that,
silly question.
that's fine.
It really
Will
is.
you keep referring to donations that aren't here? We're asking if you know what they are.
I bet you
But-
are asking, but you should be
What we're-
asking the superintendent.
Excuse me.
who's
We're
been
asking you.
holding them from the school board.
Okay, enough. That's enough.
Please.
Enough.
Was that banging for her, or for me, or for the audience?
We're going to stop now.
Okay.
Give him back his time.
Thank you.
There's no
okay,
more-
Can we go back to where I was, because I know I had just begun this statement.
We'll call it, he was at 30 seconds in. So 2 minutes and 30 seconds
Thank you.
remaining. I'll do it.
That would be 2.5 minutes left. If you'd like my watch, I could hand it to you.
We don't need the snide comment. Thank you
It's not
so
a-
much.
Okay,
And
thank
begin.
All righty, so what makes this donation different, the one that you're entertaining right now, than donations made to cover the cost of targeted research on why, when asked about students' daily marijuana use, 69% of seventh graders self-reported slight to moderate use, and 52% of seventh graders self-reported great use, which you didn't share with the community, Ms. Rigby. Why aren't we hearing about the donations made to cover costs associated with targeted research on why CUSD's Healthy Kids Survey has reported that over 29% of seventh grade students self-report that they disagree or strongly disagree that they feel safe at school? What makes the donation that you're looking at now? We're trying to figure out, why do you bring some forward to the board and not others, Ms. Rigby and Ms. Thomas, who's also well aware of what I'm talking about? What makes it different than the donation to explore how many talented and credentialed teachers live in our community, but choose not to work with the CUSD, preferring to commute 2 to 3 hours a day to teach in other districts? Or what makes this donation specifically different than those like the donation made to help fund the cost of surveying community members who don't send their kids to the school district? Again, the school board reserves the right to reject any gift, grant, or donation placed before it, but district administration does not have the right to prohibit board members from even being made aware of the possible donations. You're arguing with me, you should be arguing with the superintendent, who you'll note hasn't yet stated that she is unaware of these donations. Not yet. It would be awfully brave of you, given how aware you are, Ms. Rigby. Simply because, do you not know what I'm talking about, or do you not know about the donations that were made that have not been brought to the school board?
I don't know what you're talking about.
We're not going to have
Do
a
you
back
not
and
know
forth.
of these donations?
Please
Again,
continue.
artful wording by our
Please continue.
superintendent. You are not permitted to keep these donations from the public simply because a gift, grant, or donation may expose performance issues or district business that you, Ms. Rigby, or board members, that it's appearing that the board members, some board members may be aware of what I'm talking about also, would rather not acknowledge. And again, at any moment, all you have to say is, I'm unaware of the donations you're talking about. Thank you.
Time is up.
Obviously, we are unaware of it. You don't know what you're talking about. Makes no sense.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the Boosters Club donation to the track club at the amount of $2,445.
I'll second that.
Any discussion from the board? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
E2C, donation from CHS Booster Club to CHS Swim Team. The board is asked to accept the donation from CHS Booster Club of $475 to CHS Swim Team for swim meet entry fees. Any questions from the board? Okay, public comment on E2C. Okay, seeing none. May I get a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
I'll second.
All in discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. E2D, donation from CHS Boosters to CHS Athletic General Spring Fund, or General Funds for Spring 23-24, in the amount of $6,000. Any questions from the board? Any public comment on E2D, donation from boosters to the Athletic General Fund for Spring 23-24?
So once again, first I want to apologize if I am demonstrating my frustration at the kinds of questions that were being asked in light of what you're well aware of, okay? Nonetheless, all the same questions apply. All the same questions I just asked apply again, okay? What makes these donations different than the ones that you're not sharing with the community? Thank you.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Discussion? Thank you to boosters for supporting athletics, as is your goal, and we appreciate the support. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, E3, budget development presentation with Maureen Fitzgerald.
So tonight I'm going to go through our first pass at estimated actuals with this budget. But before I start, I do want to just say, since my name came up and I am on the agenda tonight, that it has been my absolute honor to serve under and with and partner with Diana Rigby. She has been the utmost professional, heartfelt, passionate person towards the students and the families that she serves, and somebody who has had an impact on my career, even though I'm old. And I have had a lot of years before Diana. And so, you know, I think it's very falsely represented, the culture we have in this district with the administration and the staff. And I just want to express that it is with great thought and sadness that I depart from the district, but I'm not going far. And I'm only a minute away. So I'll dive into the budget. So we did, I have given this the first pass of the estimated actuals. I'm still working on estimated actuals, and I'll talk about that as I get further down. But I'm going to go through the presentation, quickly through some of the slides that are pretty standard to the budget, the mission, the core values, the district goals, and the core budgeting principles. And then I've just updated the timelines. We did not present at early May. We were waiting for the governor's May revise. It didn't have any impact on us, basically. And now they, like Diana Rigby had said, they're going to suspend Prop 98. That means that they don't have to cut as deep right now, and they will make it up later to schools. And then, but that doesn't impact even our minimum guarantee of state aid. It has the public hearing on the 11th and the adoption on June 25th. But I'll note that June 15th is the deadline for the legislature to pass a budget, or they get financially penalized in their own paychecks. So we will have something passed by June 15th, and the way it goes is they pass something on June 15th that doesn't say a whole lot, and then they spend the next 3-4 months doing trailer bills to explain it all. So we don't always know what the outcome will be by June 15th. And then on slide 7, I'm going to go over our property tax situation again. So the current year taxes, we're a Teeter district, where we have a guarantee of a property tax estimate that we received in October. And they updated at P1, which is in December, P2, which is in April, and then we get our final property tax allocation the first week of July. So you can see that they're county estimates. They are guaranteed not to decrease. The only thing that changes the estimate is if any one-time impound or one-time release of impound comes through, and it does change on a one-time basis. This year, we are guaranteed at a 7.48% property tax increase over prior year. The 24, 5, 5, 6, and 6, 7 year, I have increased from a 7% to just under a 2.4% increase. And when I do these estimates, I analyze the secured roll taxes, which is the 95% of the whole property tax base, rather than unsecured homeowners exemptions and some of the one-time. I don't do anything with those. They pretty much stay the same. They change a little bit, but it's the secured taxes that were guaranteed. And I have a higher level of confidence now that we've been through P1, P2, that we can sustain that 7.4% increase in the future. So that will be part of the budget as we move on. And then the pension rate increases have been set for PERS, for CalPERS, CalSTRS, has been set for multiple years. It's much more difficult to change the STRS percentage, but the PERS percentage is an annual update based on investment in CalPERS. So that went down a fraction from the original estimate. And these are just the cost of the pension percentages. And then when you look at the total statutory benefits to salary, you can see going into next year, we're at like 37% for every classified dollar. I remember then that was under 10%. I went ahead and updated the cost samples for positions, both based on the updated PERS rate and also with the new health and welfare rates that are published. So those are just for information. And then again, here is the property tax history. Going back to 1920, and we have historically had about a 5% increase, give or take 10 or 20% on the upside, and in 22-23, we received a higher percentage, 7.55, due to countywide sales of high-income properties, and that is our share. Those are confirmed to be under the secured roll. So we will get that year over year. And these are the updated projections moving forward at the just under the 7.4 percentage rate. Excuse me, I have a tickle. This is the FTE staffing by just the unrestricted general fund. Everything paid out of a categorical program, which includes special education, is not presented on this slide. And then on slide 11, again, our cost of living increases. We are currently still in negotiations for the 23-4 year. And I believe we're sunshining 24-5 later in the agenda. So we have our 24-5, our October of 24 benefit rates. And we did receive an overall increase of 4.7%. It changes plan by plan. Kaiser has a different percentage, different Blue Cross plans are different. We got a rate pass for medical, dental and vision and life. So the aggregate is about a 4.7 increase, and the new cost of the district paid plan is $22,562 or $585. I can't see. And I illustrated on this slide the district contribution for a 6, 5, and 4-hour employee. And I'll speak to this a little bit because coming in mid-July, open enrollment begins where people can select their plans for the new year. And we have illustrated in our plan booklet that the employees will get what their cost will be under every single plan we have, so they can really make a good, smart choice. And we do have one plan that is at nearly zero cost. It is the same coverage as the 80E plan. It just has a slight higher deductible. Our pension increases, again, you can see over time, the STRS rate has remained constant. That does take a statute of legislation to change. The PERS rate is an annual rate increase, and it has consistently gone up. The 5-year unrestricted history trend, this is where you're going to see the first pass at estimated actuals. I'm going to explain them a little more in depth in a few slides past. The unrestricted general fund is looking at a deficit of $977,000. The first pass of estimated actuals recognizes that we encumber expenditures, we encumber purchases, which means we hold them out of budget balances for the spending of supplies and certain contract agreements that get spent off those encumbrances. And currently, staff are going through all of those to find out what are currently obligated, what are unencumbered balances, and cleaning those up. But you can see that in 22-3, we had a deficit also. We knew when we gave raises last year that it was going to deficit and spill into the current year to be able to pay for them. And the 977 is in large part, almost probably 90% due to special ed, and I'll go over that. And then the budget projection is with a positive fund balance and all of $541,000, and we'll talk about those drivers when we get to that part of the presentation. This slide just puts it together, restricted and unrestricted. You can see, though, under estimated actuals, it jumps to a $4.2 million deficit. Restricted budgets pay down fund balance by deficiting. So it is not a deficit unplanned. It is taking the last of the COVID money, which is over $2.7 million, and you spend the fund balance down by showing a deficit. And then for special education, this explains a lot. So we from 2021, 22, 23, we averaged about 76, 70, and then 65%. The 65% was a lot in large part because we couldn't find certain staff services. So we had a lot of openings. In 23-4, we had to fill most of those difficult positions, speech language pathologist, the SLPAs, the OT, occupational therapy positions, and including intensive ABA therapists and students going to CASA. It drove that up to about a 72% from last year. And then in the 4-5 year, it goes up even higher. But what's even more telling is just in 5 years, we had a 5.5 expenditure budget. We now have a $9 million expenditure budget. And for SELPA statewide, revenues are going down, just like with general fund. LCFF, statewide ADA is down. Our SELPA is funded on ADA. And so we receive minimal to no COLA. Even a 1% COLA is negated by the loss of ADA funding. So nobody in any of these, in any SELPA is getting any more money, even though there may be a COLA because of declining enrollment. Yet the costs of the students and the needs of our students we're seeing are much more significant. So it is something that statewide it's being looked at. On page 17, the revenue, the charts have been updated for the 24-5 budget. So we do receive about 84% of our total revenue in property taxes. If you look at this unrestricted, it's almost all property taxes. This includes some state revenue, which includes special ed. And it also includes our federal money, IDEA, and our title programs. On page 18, you'll see the proportionate total general fund for expenditures. I can't get rid of my tickle. So total salaries and benefits are 78%. This includes, I just want to put some context in this. This includes every salary and benefit, not just positions. So it includes after-school program and summer school and professional development and substitute teachers, not just position pay. It's everything. And then on the next slide, which I like, this is my favorite illustration. This is by function. This is a mandatory reporting criteria to the state. And you can see that almost over 75% of our budget is direct services to students, which I think is one of the highest percentages I've seen. And it is largely due to the fact that, you know, we fund almost $1 million in classroom aids, unrestricted, general fund. That doesn't include the special ed aids. And that's something that no districts have anymore. So we feel very invested in our classrooms and supporting our teachers. And you couple that with low class size, that makes a big impact. I always include this chart. It tells you what color, what types of expenditures are in what color. I did add on the 7,000 category, which is kind of the lime, like sherbet green. I don't even know what you color that green. That also includes legal services along with all of those other services. And then on page 21, I'm going to get into the estimated actuals. So in the box below, I've divided the changes by unrestricted and restricted. The unrestricted part of the budget, of course, is our operating budget. We don't operate off the restricted budget. So we have a slight increase in P2 property taxes. That all comes with, they update one-time assessments and the one-time money's coming in. Lottery went up a little bit. I was being very cautious because the lottery has not, it's by annual enrollment, and our enrollment's been going down. Local revenue went up. That includes workers' comp as well as interest, but what's complicated is when somebody is on workers' compensation, we have several people that are on workers' comp. We pay their full salary, and workers' comp reimburses us, and that deposit goes into local. So it's kind of misrepresented as actual income. It's more of a refund of salary. And then our contributions to special ed has gone up by $400,000, and we'll talk about that again also. On the restricted side, special ed AB 602 funding changed by those three criteria under special ed, property tax, IDEA, and AB 602. Those did go up slightly. And then our contribution to special ed went up $413,000, and those were in large part due to two specific contracts for ABA therapists and Casa Pacifica. Our UPK grant adjustment went down. That was budgeted as an entitlement. It was only a one-time, so that was reduced along with the expenditures. Just like with the unrestricted lottery, there's a part of lottery that's restricted. It's restricted for classroom supplies only. That went up also. And then we adjusted our block grants to the actual award. And then we've added into the budget the Prop 28 art and music money of $338,000. And you'll see on the expenditure side, we've added a budget for that. We also added the career and college and career access grant for the high school. That's a new grant for them. So the total change in revenue was an increase of $763, but the total effect of unrestricted was a decrease of $313. When we take that information and we compare it with the expenditure changes on the unrestricted side, I swept every last unfilled vacancy gap. The budget is positions drive the budget, and people are assigned to positions. So if somebody leaves and a position is filled 2 months later, that position has that gap of money. I've gone through and closed all of those. And then we kind of swept some supply balances. And then we affected operating expenses according to these following things. We increased our legal services for the molestation cases. They are starting to take depositions, and there's a lot more activity now happening for the past couple of months. So we are realizing those legal costs. We had a special ed legal settlement agreement that was paid out to a trust. And then we increased our special ed contracts in the general fund which for the speech language and the speech language assistance and then the occupational therapy by $528,000. We almost doubled the services we needed for those this year. And then the same thing with curriculum. We included in this budget through time more curriculum tools, electronic curriculum tools for the teachers in the classrooms. And then we've been reevaluating what we'll keep for next year. And then I was able to apply indirect costs, which reduces expenditures to like cafeteria and a couple other programs that hadn't paid before. So we've increased our revenue 454,000. We decreased our revenue by 313. That's the 977 change to the unrestricted general fund budget. And then on the restricted side, these all impact either new grants, shifting of priorities, again, special education, the contracts for the two agencies I explained, and then you have the tennis courts in here. The tennis courts is just under 700,000. That's all fund balance because that's a project that was fully funded up front and then we spend it down in deficit. So that's why you see the expenditures that are 2 million higher on the restricted side. The 2.5 is not all unrestricted general fund. So this slide is important because you see it side by side. You see the unrestricted general fund has that deficit about 2/3 down the page of the 977. The restricted side deficit's 3.2. That's spending down the fund balance for the remaining COVID funds and some of the other grant programs for a total general fund deficit of 4.2 million. And the reserve at the bottom is 4.07 in the estimated for the year we're ending. When I put this side by side from the second interim, it shows the changes side by side. It shows going from a 6.18% to a 4.07%, and it's all of the categories and the reasons that I just explained. And then on 25, we have our 24-25 budget assumptions. We increased our property tax base to reflect the 7.39% increase. I, again, am reducing lottery by a little bit, and that's based on the updated lottery numbers that came out. We decreased local revenue because we don't, like I said, it's work comp rebates. We don't always plan those. And then for next year, we're looking at $296,000 decrease in special ed, or increase in the contribution to special ed. So our revenues for next year are $26.5 million on the unrestricted general fund side. Yes. So the increase, when you increase the special ed contribution, it decreases the unrestricted general fund revenue. Yeah, so it takes from over here and puts it over there. The 24-5 budget expenditures, these are all now materialized numbers based on actually building the budget and with reconciled position control with all of the changes that have occurred over the past month. So we have step and column increases at 227. We know our health and welfare increases now at 266. Our PERS rate went up from the current year, down from the original estimate of 27.8, but it's 27.05. Workers' comp went up again. This is the second time in 8 years it's gone up, and I think that's a pretty significant increase. We had several vacant positions that we did not fill this year, some teaching positions specifically that through attrition we didn't fill depending on the class size needs. And then the rest of the increases are pretty routine. We are increasing technology year over year. We are now feeling the impact of all of the COVID devices we purchased wearing out. So we're now having to increase our technology budget for not just Chromebook replacements, but for Mac replacements also. We wear them out pretty good. And then the indirect costs, as we reduce our categorical programs, we lose that revenue, which turns into an additional expense. That's kind of confusing. No budget increases and no budget decreases. On page 29, you see the total expenditures for the 24-5 budget at 26 million. And then in the following slide, you see the revenues, the expenditures come together for a ending balance of 2.3 million and a 5.75% reserve. I again have on 31 put the unrestricted and restricted side by side. I know you can't, it's really hard to see there, but you can see that it does put the 24-5 budget back into a positive impact on the general fund balance. And the restricted deficit goes down to only 300,000. And that's spending some last of the different grants that are out there for, like, mostly the high school, for the total of 5.75 reserve. And then when we look at the multi-year, we're looking at estimated actuals, the 4-5 budget and 2 years out. I just want to emphasize again that neither of the 3-4 and the 4-5 budgets have any salary increases realized from negotiations. So it's really tight. And I am currently working on reconciling all of the invoices specifically for the two highest costs for SPED. That's the ABA therapists and CASA, as kids have come and gone. So we get paid on a month. Every month is different. And, we've had, at times we've had a lot of kids at CASA, and now we're down to a few kids at CASA. So I'm able to maybe reduce my May, June cost. So I'm going through that right now, and the final estimated actuals will come at the June 11 board meeting. And I'm hoping to, that will be with the public hearing, and I'm hoping to have it look just a little bit better.
Okay.
And the last slide, of course, is just our COVID funds.
Okay, questions from the board?
Can I jump back to slide 32?
Yes.
So from a 10,000-foot view, our expenditures this year are 44 million in round numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And as we project it out, we're showing lower expenditures each year.
So remember that this year we still have just under 3 million in COVID money that we're spending down.
Right.
And then we also have the instructional materials grant that we're spending down this year. So those are the last two of the big COVID pots, and those will be gone.
Okay.
So you'll see the expenditures go down, but then that's why the deficit goes down.
Yeah, okay. And then in the following years out, 25, 26, it picks up again.
So in the 24, 25, and the 5, 6 year, the revenue and expenditure for our categoricals have to equal.
Yeah.
There's no contributions. The only contributions we have are special ed, and we do have some staff out of Title I and Title II that are now, the salaries are now are bypassing the revenue, so there's some minor contributions into those programs. But everything else balances out. There's no more programs that we're deficiting.
Yeah, thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, so on 26 with unrestricted drivers, I just making it clear, the step and column increases that are in here are the current as is without any, because negotiations have not finished for 23, 24, and they haven't started yet for 24, 25. This is what it is as if nothing changes from right now.
That's just the contractual. I'm at step 6, I go to 7.
Yep.
I'm column 1, year 10, I go to 11. It's strict movement on the salary schedule. That's contractual, yeah.
Yep, okay. And I really appreciate, well, it's more discussion actually, so I'll save that for or is this all, wait, we're just doing presentation, so we're not adopting, okay. Okay, so I appreciate you really breaking out more of the SPED contributions. This has been something that we've been kind of talking about and chirping about for the last couple years, this increase in spending. This year, especially, it really stood out more than it has in previous years. And it's standing out even more in the last, I'd say, I think like 2 years, year and a half, because the county, even though we pay into SELPA, they stopped offering services for our students.
Correct.
So not only are we still paying into SELPA, we're not getting those services, and we're having to pay now additionally for those services here.
Right.
And I think it's really important for people to understand that those services include medical level services, are going
Correct.
to, especially right now at the preschool level. We're seeing more and more students with special needs,
Medically fragile.
medically fragile, and this is something that is going to drive the budget going forward. Like, this is not going down. This is only going up, and these students need to be served in the way that they need to be served. But if you look at the contribution from the federal and state government, it is abysmal and frankly disgusting.
Right.
And
They mandate it, but they
yeah.
don't fund it.
Yeah. And not only that, we're not getting the support from the county that we need either.
Correct, and I think that what I've seen, like my own observation too, is as some of these kids are moving into the upper elementary grades into middle school, the needs manifest differently. So, when they're young, it's much, you can support them with maybe less cost because they're but as they get older, their needs become greater, and we have to serve them, and we have to do what's best for the kids.
Well, absolutely, and there's no. It's just.
It is what it is.
Yes, they need their services. Yep. We need to figure out how to do that. But the unfortunate thing is, we are a school district. We are here to educate. We're not a medical facility.
No.
But we are having to become that.
We also have a group home in the district.
Yes.
That circulates kids like routinely that are very high needs. That hasn't been there before.
Yeah, and we're having to send those students to Casa Pacifica at about, what is it, between $80,000 and $90,000 per student?
Yeah, about 90 per student.
Yeah. And that's where they need to be, because that's where they can get the services that they require. So that's what we do, 100%. I think it's really important for the community to understand this huge budget driver, that it's going to just, the importance of it, and the importance, frankly, of talking with your legislators about funding for these programs. I took that upon myself last month to do that, and I would love to encourage others to do the same, because, we're in the business of teaching, and now we are getting into the medical field, and that's not our lane, but it's becoming our lane. So it's something we have to think about moving forward, what our special ed program will look like in the future. And I mean, if we're having increasing students that are having to go outside, we're having to send them out at this huge cost. I mean, I guess it's kind of this weird thought of, at what point do we become that facility, or do we create a facility for those students here? Is that better for the student? Is that a cost savings? Because ultimately, these increased sped these increased costs to sped are, although they must be, these costs must be spent, it's taking that fund away from the rest of the school population and the students, money that would be being spent towards them, or towards salaries, or raises, maintenance, all the different other things in the general fund, because we are having to take it from the general fund from unrestricted to restricted. And so that's something that, as a board and as a community, we need to discuss. Like, is that something we need to look at as creating that type of facility somewhere?
I think the other critical element, it's exacerbated by the fact that the demand for sped staff, highly qualified sped staff, these special needs students they require and deserve special credentialed special ed teachers, and we just don't have a supply of those teachers. And this conversation takes place
Everywhere.
every month in our county superintendent's group, especially among the smaller districts, where there is an increase in what we consider it a low incidence population of students. And so we're not a large district that has those resources. The expectation was, when the SELPAs were originally formed, is that there would be regional programs to service the students of low incidence from the smaller districts, because Hope and Cold Springs and Montecito and Carpinteria were too small to have the number of students that can generate, having the staff to serve them. And so that's why there were regional programs developed. However, in the last 2-3 years, the regional programs have struggled so mightily with recruiting staff members.
With their own staffing.
Right, that they've now closed those regional programs, and essentially districts are left to service the low incidence population in their own district.
Which is now becoming not so low incidence.
For particular
Yeah.
disabilities.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, consider this me starting that conversation for us for the future, and putting it out there to our community and our families, and in particular SPED families. This is, yeah, I don't have an answer, but it's a discussion that needs to be had moving forward, and something that needs to be at the forethought of what we do and where we move, and how we move our budgets forward, how we move our district forward, based on the needs of our student population. So, sorry. Anybody else from the board? Okay. Public comment on, and this is not the end of this. This is the start of the budget presentation. So, public comment.
Good evening. I'm here to voice concerns on what I'm seeing in the budget. I have some concerns in that the last time we did a budget reading, the services and other operating expenses, we've added $2 million roughly, or close to $2 million since that last time. It's the variance is 1.939 million. These are expenses, that we hadn't seen before, and I'm wondering, why, they're just like all of a sudden lumped in and, dumping on us. The additional thing, I've previously voiced a concern about the ongoing lawsuits against, Jay Hotchner. I'm not sure what's going on with the 70s molestation case. Clearly that, we've had some extreme challenges, but I do know that the Hotchner case is one that we don't have to do. That is purely, you are appealing this, and what I want to know is okay, assuming that that case fails, assuming that you are ordered to pay Mr. Hotchner, his legal expenses and back pay and everything, which earlier I think you said was in the range of about 1.5 million. Where does this come out of the budget for next year, assuming that gets done next year? How are you paying for that? Additionally, for the 24-25, I'm not seeing a breakout for the services and other operating expenses, and I'm wondering how you are budgeting for all of these legal services that are going on, including the 70s molestation cases. What happens, if we have to pay out on those particular cases? Where are we budgeting that from? I know that Ms. Fitzgerald talked a lot about, things are coming from, this fund and going to that fund, and we're spending out down this and that. But I am concerned about these legal expenses, and I would like to have a better understanding of, what are we doing in the worst case scenario if everything goes wrong? Because from what I can see, it looks like, we're going to bankrupt the district next year at the rate we're going.
Okay, so real quick, so I heard a question about where services and other operating expenses are in the 24-25.
Yes.
It's right there and kind of in the same spot. So page 31.
31.
What is the?
Page 31.
Page 31, kind of in the same spot as it is for the 23-24.
Page 31.
Services and other operating expenses.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll step back. Thank you.
And then as far as the increase, that's what we were just discussing, is SPED was a huge driver in that increase. And it was clarified that Mrs. Fitzgerald actually clarified in her classification of the different things that legal got.
Page 22. It's explained in page 22.
Yeah, page 22, it explains where the different items are categorized.
What was the 24.5?
Page 22.
Well, no, the services.
Right there.
Services, okay. So we're budgeting $2 million less than we're spending this year. Previously, we had talked about keeping the services and other expenses the same. I'm sorry.
Your time is up, but
Yeah.
this is the beginning of the discussion, and you
Okay.
can call, email that discussion. As you know, that communication can happen, and so we can go
Thank you
from
so
there.
much. I
Certainly.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you. I believe you just confirmed where we will find references to the projected legal expenses, and that you are projecting a $2 million increase, is that
No,
correct?
there's no increase in legal
Okay,
expenses.
so $2 million towards
No, I never
that.
said that.
What I believe you said at meeting two back was that we would be budgeting the same amount we spent this year.
It's not $2 million, Mr.
Well,
Hotchner.
1.9 or so.
No, that 1.9 is the change in special
I'd like
ed.
all my time back again, okay, just to make sure.
Okay.
I
If
was
you're going to take
asking.
your time to ask questions,
Yes.
then that counts as your time. If you'd like to make a
I
statement,
actually
make a
didn't- I actually
statement.
hadn't asked a question at that point. I
You-
was still
you just
framing
did.
a question, but I hadn't gotten there.
You just asked
before
her
she
a question.
Jumped in.
So we're not going to do this. Feel free and start your
I did.
statement.
Thank you. I'd like to start my statement. Thank you. So nonetheless, 3 minutes is certainly not enough time to thoroughly get into any of this, but there's a few areas that I'd like to point out. So to begin with page 7. On page 7, appreciate the acknowledgement that property taxes are apparently coming in higher than we had projected, and that they appear to be coming in even higher in years out than we projected. Yeah, we had projected 7.4 for 23-24. Now they're coming in at 7.48. And we had projected 7.0. Once again, your comment has drawn me off, so again, I'd like my time back. But we had projected 7.00 just a month and a half ago, and now we're looking at 7.39. So again, I'd like my time back. Page 8. Something to mention about page 8, you give a breakdown of classroom aids and the cost to the district. Although the scenario that you put on the paper is possible, the majority of aides are not getting the district health and welfare package that are working part-time 6 hours. And that means that many aides work and earn 3/4 of that health care package, approximately $15,000 worth of health care, and they can't afford, because they can't afford to pay the difference, they actually walk away with no health care and the district keeps that money. So this is a bit of a gross misrepresentation for the majority of our part-time aides. Page 15. In page 15, we're looking at a $4.2 million. Would you call it under budgeted? Would that be a reasonable word?
Don't
Reasonable
respond.
term? Under budgeted? Okay, that is my word, under budgeted. This is happening in a basic aid district that continues to receive robust property. There is no way that you gave me my time back. Oh, okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's pretty clear. Thank you.
Any further public comment? Okay. Any discussion among the board?
I'd just like to thank you, Maureen. Again, this is a very, the presentations that you present to us are clear, thorough, they're extremely transparent, and the accuracy is amazing. I mean, to come within under $20,000, like $13,000 to $20,000 on a $44 million budget is remarkable.
And a lot of sweat.
It is. No, and the time that you put in is well spent. I think we are all really sad that you're going to be leaving us, but I know that you're gonna have a much easier time, and you're gonna be able to manage your the job with your eyes closed, and which will allow you to dedicate a lot more time to your family, which I know is very important to you. And but I just without getting real emotional, I would like to just convey the utmost appreciation personally for you and the hard work that you've done, the dedication you've shown, and the patience you have as a colleague and friend and most importantly, mother and wife. So thank you.
Thank you, Andy.
Absolutely. What he said without your willingness to teach us up on all of this.
And we will be calling you.
Yeah. I have greatly appreciated the lengths you go to make this digestible for those of us that wouldn't otherwise be able to understand this. But beyond that, your dedication and perseverance and I mean, the amount of hats that you wear and going back to old YouTube videos of when you first came on and where this district was, and what this looked like then versus what this looks like now is amazingly different, and you are absolutely brilliant. And I don't know how else to say it. It doesn't do you justice, because you are so much more than this and what you mean to this district. And so we are incredibly grateful.
Thank you. I have a great team around me, and including you as a board and Diana. I am not going to an emotional level yet because I cannot, or I won't get through the day. But I came here at the right time, and I am grateful for everything and all my time here. Absolutely.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And just to be clear, we have you for 2 more meetings.
And I'll say, since my time with the district, the best. Thank you.
Okay. Moving on, F1, personnel summary. We have 3, the board's asked to approve the following recommended personnel items: 3 assignments, 6 resignations. Any questions from the board? Okay. Public comment on personnel, F1. Please step up to the podium now.
Alrighty, so once again, the district's personnel report offers important data, which should not be viewed as just a snapshot in and of itself, but as a link to a larger body of information that clarifies what is going on in regard to employee transiency, CUSD's hiring capacity, attractability, employment conditions, and more. Once again, it contains the resignation of yet another special education teacher at the middle school, several this year, and the resignation of 2 more special education instructional aides. Once again, the report confirms that a teacher at Canalino, Mr. Quintero, has resigned from his teaching position to be appointed the principal at Canalino without any previous administrative experience, in part because there were no other candidates to compete for the position, and in part based on a historically fairly cozy relationship with our district administration. And of course, as mentioned earlier in this meeting, the personnel report documents the resignation of Assistant Superintendent Fitzgerald. Moving on to greener pastures, I hear. Earlier in this meeting, we shared that the district's employment numbers have gotten worse. Ms. Rigby artfully referred to it as the 23-24 recruitment. Here's the data that underlines the superintendent's reference to recruitment. In the last 6 months, confirmed in the data published and contained in the last 9 personnel reports provided to the board between December 23 and May 24, the personnel reports confirm that there have been 8 new employees hired in the district. Please remember that number, 8. Compare that to this number, these numbers. Even after CUSD laid off 5 classified employees, and after CUSD released approximately 14 teachers at the very end of their 2-year probationary period without providing any explanation to these teachers, the district has still received no less than 23 resignations of district employees in the last 6 months. 23 resignations composed of 11 classified support staff, 7 full-time teachers, and 6 administrators, including the SPED director, the payroll coordinator, the assistant principal at the middle school, the principal at the middle school, the human resource director, and just this evening, the assistant. Just before the accountability associated with the $4 million, approximately 4.2 budget overrun, yes, my words, 1.9 of which was unbudgeted legal fees. Before that hits the fan, she's out. Good luck at your next job, Ms. Fitzgerald. We suspect you didn't advertise that mess when you were applying for with your new employer. No surprise this data is coming out at the last board meeting of the 23-24 school year. School board, Ms. Rigby, nothing to see here, right? Have a great summer, everyone.
Does it ever
Thank
occur to
you.
you are the reason that we don't want to be here?
We share that.
Okay.
I would just ask that we keep the disparaging personal attacks out of these meetings because they have no place. They have no place here. No, you are the only person who attacks people personally, and brings innuendo and disparagement to a cordial business meeting, and it has no place. Absolutely no place in a meeting like this. And you repeat this week after week. It really goes to your psychosis, man, that you come here and you need to disparage people, and it must make you feel good because it certainly isn't enjoyable for us.
This is not a back and forth. This is not a back and forth. Okay. All right. May I get a motion to approve the personnel summary?
I move to approve the personnel summary.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. F2, real quick, I believe, yeah. Yeah, Aaron and Andy need to leave. Their seniors have the award ceremony this evening that starts very shortly.
Yeah, we're all set, because we have 3.
Okay, so we will still have a quorum. Thank you both.
Yeah, thank you. We'll see you there.
Okay, we are moving on to the Assistant Superintendent Business Services Job Description Update. The board is asked to approve the Assistant Superintendent Business Services Job Description Update. which was included in the agenda documents. This is a large, hefty load of a job description and is going to be difficult, but I think it's important to point out we are looking for people who have already been in this position, not anyone new. We need people that can, applicants that can step in, that can handle project management along with the budget, understanding business services of a school district specifically, because it is very different from any other scenario. Do you have?
Yes. It also reflects the administrative responsibilities that this job entails currently. So that has changed significantly over the last 3 and 4 years. Maureen has assumed all the responsibility for administrating all the operations side. So that is Measure U, transportation, food services, all the business fiscal services, IT services. So we had to update the job description that reflected beyond just business services and a salary commensurate with those job responsibilities, which is why you'll see an increase in Step 7. It was, we added Step 7 for $200,000. So we added an additional step.
So that doesn't mean that's where we're necessarily.
No, it's the range.
That's the range.
Yes, based on experience.
But we are looking for somebody who has several years in, so they won't be coming in at step 1, or they will be coming in at.
No.
Yeah.
We
They would
are
be coming
requiring
in
at
at-
least 3 years of current California Chief Business Officer experience.
Wonderful. Okay.
And that is our expectation, that those will be our applicants.
Okay. Questions? Okay. Public comment? F2?
I have more of a question on this one. It sounds like the services that Ms. Fitzgerald performed were larger than, original scope. I would put it out to you, does it make sense to hire, 2 people, for, different specialties? Because it sounds like she has an awful big job. And it seems like there's like the budgeting and the bookkeeping and all of that, and then everything else that goes on. So I'm just putting it out there. I wish you well on finding a replacement for a position and the job search, but, just managing expectations and the difficulties we've had in hiring people. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further public comment?
Yes, thank you. So the union applauds what you just shared, Ms. Diamond. We applaud the concept that the district is looking for an individual who has experience in the position. And we'd like to encourage you to apply that same logic to the administration of your school sites, which is not currently the case. The district increased the salary range for the position, or is looking to increase the salary range for the position, while again providing district administrators already a 5% salary increase in July, and still only offering, after almost a year of negotiations, 2.5% increase to district personnel. This in a climate where district administrators are paid approximately 0.5% above the state average, and district teachers are paid approximately 3% below the state average. So once again, please chew on that, give that some thought. June 3rd is a big day. It's our last day to try to get to an agreement, right, before the end of the instructional year. Let's see what we can do there. Thank you.
Any further public comment? Okay, seeing none, may I get a motion to approve the job description?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. F3, initial proposal from Carpinteria Unified School District to Carpinteria Association of United School Employees, cause certificated unit local 2216-2425. The board is asked to review the attached initial proposal from CUSD to cause local certificated, Local 2216, fiscal implications TBD. Any questions from the board? Okay, public comment, F3. Okay. Seeing none. Let's see here, this was just to review. Just to review, fabulous, okay. Moving on to F4, initial proposal from CUSD to cause classified unit Local 2216 for 24-25. We are asked to review the attached initial proposal from CUSD to cause classified. The previous was certificated. This is for classified Local 2216 for 24-25. Fiscal implications TBD. Any questions from the board? Public comment on this item. Maybe.
The union wants to thank the district for submitting its openers. Typically, it's openers, actually plural, but for the last several years, the only contract articles the district has opened have been compensation and benefits, and it's been part of the district's posture of refusing to seek improvements with elected employee leaders and employees themselves that would benefit students and families. So we really want to encourage you to reconsider the openers that you've picked and look at other areas where it's really quite obvious in the district we're having issues, and we could be creating better contract language to improve conditions on the ground and improve the services that we provide our students and families. You will hear, board members, you will be told that the district should not open any other articles because anything we agree to, you can be held accountable to. It's correct that anything we agree to, you can be held accountable to, but that's the whole point, right? That's what you're here for, is so that we can make improvements in the name of the kids and then hold ourselves collectively to those improvements. We shouldn't be afraid of accountability if we're really focused on doing the job well. So, thank you.
Okay. Moving on to F5, initial proposal from Carpinteria Association of United School Employees, Sunshine, for negotiations to the collective bargaining agreement with Carpinteria Unified School District, certificated for the 24-25 school year. The board is asked to review the initial proposal by cause Sunshine to the CUSD, certificated for 24-25, fiscal implications TBD. Any questions from the board? Public comment on F5. No.
Alrighty, so I just want to make sure I clarify for those who don't understand the process, the Sunshine process. We received a lot of questions on this ourselves from both employees who don't understand, but also community members who don't understand what the Sunshine process is. A routine contract cycle is approximately an annual cycle, and each year both the district and the union are entitled to open mandatory subjects of bargaining like compensation and benefits, which the district has opened, as well as 3 other contract articles in each CBA, in each collective bargaining agreement. And by opening those other 3 articles in each collective bargaining agreement, we're able to focus on, instead of opening the entire contract, which happens every few years, but by only opening 3 at a time, it allows us to really focus down on priority issues in the district. So for example, one of the things that the union opened in this last cycle was special education concerns. We really tried to mine down into what was going on with the special education department here in the district. And we offered, I believe, 45 different improvements that the district has rejected all of them, but nonetheless, we put a lot of thinking into it. And not just the union. I mean, these are ideas coming from our colleagues, the employees that we represent. So once a year, we have this process where we open contract articles that we believe would be valuable improvements or areas for valuable improvement in the district. And before those become formally the contract articles we're going to bargain, they are brought before yourselves, but they're brought before yourselves because they're supposed to be brought before the community. We want the community to know what's going on. We want the community to weigh in on these topics. And so, and this is why this process looks like this. I believe these are brought back again in another meeting to give the community an opportunity to comment on them. This is a great example of what shouldn't be happening on those consent agendas, where you only push through something the first time right through under mass approval, instead of bringing them up, letting the community know this is an opportunity to discuss something, and then returning to it at the next meeting so that the discussions can happen. So just a little bit about sunshining articles. Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion from the board? No. Okay. F6, initial proposal from Carpinteria Association of United School Employees, cause sunshine for negotiations for the collective bargaining agreement with Carpinteria Unified School District classified for the 24-25 school year. We are asked to review the initial proposal from cause to sunshine, proposal by cause their sunshine to CUSD for 24-25. Fiscal implications, TBD. Any questions from the board? Okay, public comment on this item. F6.
Thank you. And with what I just shared, for those who haven't made it to the actual attachments that are included, we thought we would confirm what some of these things that the union is opening and looking at for opportunities for improvement. For certificated, it's transfer reassignment, shared decision-making, safety, and of course compensation and benefits is a mandatory subject of bargaining. And for classified, we're looking at hours, we're looking at the concept of disciplinary action and how we can better work with you to support disciplinary action that's fair and ethical and professional. And then we're also looking at the concept of vacations, organizing those around times that are least impactful on our students. And then again, of course, also compensation and benefits for classified employees. Thank you.
Any further public comment? Seeing none, we are moving on to G, board announcements.
I just wanted to reiterate what you said about The Wizard of Oz, which was absolutely tremendous. I've also been to the middle school to music concerts Mr. Pavia has given, and last night was terrific. And I think the high school will have a lot of performers and musicians as they move, as these kids move forward. But it's a pleasure to go to those events.
Eric, anything? Okay. I have a few things. I had the honor of attending the CHS Hall of Fame event last Saturday. It was an amazing event inducting people spanning, decade. I mean, there's no way to, literally over 60 years since they were students here. And just some really inspirational thoughts and comments from the inductees. But what I appreciated the most, and especially as someone who is not from Carpinteria but chose to be here and be very intentional about living here and raising my family here, the common thread that they all spoke about was the magic of our community, that certain thing, that saison that we have here, and the support from, of course, the teachers and parents and coaches, but the community. It truly was the community as a whole. But the way they spoke back about the people that impacted them and how to this day it still affects them that's what it is. That's the magic of Carp. And it was really special time to hear that.
In addition, what makes it so special is that there were generational honorees and speakers as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of that specialness.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I mean, it was, and especially as someone who's not from here, I wasn't here when these people were in school here, the youngest being my age. And it was really, I don't know, it was just really special for me to get a glimpse into the past of Carp that way. A few other things. We have all of our promotion and graduation ceremonies coming up. Tonight is the senior awards that starts right in like 30 seconds. Eighth grade awards night is tomorrow night. I'm really excited for that. So congratulations to all of our graduates and promotions, fifth grade, eighth grade, and CHS. We have some great events this summer that, with Fun in the Sun, it's going to be an amazing opportunity. There's summer school coming up. CHS, Mr. Cornejo sent out the link for that to sign up your students for CHS summer school. Let's see here, what else? Oh, CCP, Carp Children's Project, is now an official, although they didn't need this designation, an official emergency food site, even though they've been doing that for years now. But on the second Wednesday of every month from 3 to 5:30, it's food distribution from there. And then Reality Carp at Girls Inc. on the last Thursday of the month from 4 to 5:30. But you can go to, if you have food insecurity, even if it's just situational or transitional, there are many, many sites across the county that have food available for you. Please get it. Please do not feel like you don't deserve it or you don't, if you've never needed it before, take the assistance, please.
May I also add that we will be serving lunch every day at Carpinteria High School or Aliso.
Yes, there is, our district will be offering food services at lunch, and that's going out via Parent Squares. We know that summer can be a food desert for some families, and so we want to make sure that you know what is available to you. So if that is a struggle for you and you don't know where to reach out to, call CCP. They will be able to get you in touch with all the appropriate services. And then there's also a little bit of a misnomer going around that I've heard a few times, that people need to call the district office in advance of a school board meeting to ask for interpretation services, and that is not accurate. So if you need interpretive services, you can show up, let Monica know, let someone know, and we will make sure you are served. But it's been there's something going around saying they need to give like a week notice or something to have interpretation services at a school board meeting, and that's not accurate. So I just wanted to clarify that. Okay.
I just want to remind the board that this Friday night, this Friday we start with the Summerlin promotion at 1:30, and then at 6:30 Friday night is the CEF promotion for fifth grade. So it's already this week, before next week.
Yeah, CEF, Carp.
CFS.
Sorry.
It's not CEF.
CFS.
CFS.
Family School.
Carpinteria Family School.
Family School.
Thank you.
Yes,
I'm like,
sorry.
wait a minute. What are we doing here? Okay. And that's what we got going on there. Future agenda items, we'll have our budget adoption in June. Okay. LCAP adoption and a governance workshop on the horizon, or at least talking about it. Okay, public comment on future agenda items.
Thank you. So first, the board should consider as a future agenda item how it will respond to administrators like Ms. Fitzgerald, who openly call public speakers a-holes, quote, a-holes, I'll refrain from the entire word, as they step down from the podium. It seems awfully immature and unprofessional behavior. Ms. Fitzgerald, who's just stepped away, but nothing we haven't come to expect from Ms. Fitzgerald. Second, last night, the City Council just endorsed the concept of remuneration for board members. That is some form of compensation for board members by increasing their monthly stipend from just under $1,000 a month and the opportunity to access the city's health care plan. Union leadership is once again encouraging the placement of remuneration on the upcoming board agenda. I will reread a statement that we have made for years, most recently in October and November of 2023, and several times this year. It would be great to hear a board-level discussion about its efforts, if they exist, to recruit and identify a more diverse leadership team to serve in senior administrative positions, including the district superintendent, and direct participation on the CUSD school board. And we're not just talking about the color of skin or gender, we're talking about economic diversity. Union leadership again encourages the board to consider and include in this discussion the possibility of remuneration for school board members. That is some form of compensation for our school board members. Yes, yourselves who deserve it, or at least conceivably in this role deserve it. Some questions that could be asked. Why did the CUSD school board cancel compensation for district board members? Is this a practice that best serves the district and the community? Could there be a stipend, access to reduced health care, or some form of remuneration to encourage board members to invest the time required to better understand the work, the opportunities, and challenges experienced in the teaching and learning environments? Just like educators and support staff need better compensation so that they may avoid the distractions that come with economic instability, union leadership believes that school board trustees should also receive some form of transparent compensation to provide them the time and resources sacrificed when they perform their duties with diligence and competence. Although many in the community would be proud to apply their expertise to matters of the CUSD, not all have the same abundance of time and resources to provide at no cost to the community. Of course, as we mentioned last time, you are always welcome to forego the remuneration, but it could be critical to some. There are many more talented, intelligent, and large-hearted people in our community. Union leadership believes many of these people could bring the much-needed diversity to the CUSD school board if they could displace the economic costs of participation. So please consider remuneration, and again, please ask yourself what you're going to do about a senior administrator who's calling somebody an a-hole as they're stepping off of the podium. Thank you.
And we are adjourned.